At Hogwarts Academy, the principal asks the head teacher how Professor Celebliss is doing, to which he replies that her classes for building trust with monsters are difficult, so no achievements were made by the students. At this rate, there will be no rewards from the teacher's blessing either. Hearing this bad news, she becomes frustrated as she was finally able to get the heroes to attend the academy to improve its reputation. The head teacher then tells her to calm down, as there's still some good news. There's a student with a fairy blessing rank C, who will bring good results together with Celebliss. Meanwhile, Celebliss welcomes Hansu into her class, but she gets angry when he addresses her as a teacher. She tells him not to use such formal titles when it's just the two of them, and tells him to start over again, and not to use a formal title this time. Hansu awkwardly laughs, and understands that he has chosen the wrong class. Earlier on the first day of class, students had to interact with slimes, but they couldn't get the slimes' attention, and ended up chasing them. Then Hansu takes out a bone which attracts all the slimes' attention. This surprises Celebliss, and she praises Hansu for his cleverness in using something that the slimes are fond of, so she decides to give him special classes. Back in the present, Hansu awkwardly addresses her as Miss Celebliss, which she accepts. She then blushingly explains that today's class will be about his attitude when dealing with monster partners. To demonstrate, he has to pretend to be her slime partner. So she sits down near a tree and tells Hansu to lie down on her lap just like a slime. Although he is taken aback, he decides to go along with it. However, he realizes that if it weren't for his blessing, he would have gotten an erection by now. The outsider god watches him with narrowed eyes and suspicion, while Celebliss smiles brightly at him. His constant interactions with girls make him wonder if the academy is crazy, or if this world is crazy. Later at night, Dialoka is fighting against some werewolves who taunt her. As they rush to attack, she easily rips one of their hands off and eliminates the rest using fire magic. She then starts looking for Hansu, who is chasing a werewolf with a bone. After defeating all the werewolves, he uses slime to take care of the collection and checks Dialoka's stats. Although she leveled up a lot, he still hasn't acquired the curse of avarice that he needs to hide his stats. Nevertheless, he managed to achieve some good results. Earlier, the mercenary guildmaster told Dialoka to stop bringing only proof of subjugation, as it's not proper to bring only ears, and the guild's safe is completely empty while they haven't gained anything. Dialoka tells him that if he had a problem, he should have changed the contents of the request earlier, as she had already taken care of it. Annoyed, the guy gives her another request, which is an S-rank request, enough to satisfy her demands. Back in the present day, Hansu is annoyed that the S-rank request turns out to be a digging job for an underground ruin. He asks for Dialoka's help, but she declines, saying she is exhausted from hunting werewolves. Knowing it's a lie, he persuades her while the outsider god cheers for the lone wolf. After digging for a while, Hansu realized that it would take a long time, so he decided to blow everything up with one shot. However, Dialoka informed him that he might destroy important remains that held great secrets. This would result in a failed mission for the request. She suggested that getting manpower would be a faster solution. Hearing this, Hansu contacted the guardian orc through his holy sword and asked him to send some people with digging equipment. Soon, a portal opened, and many people with equipment emerged from it. Dialoka was amazed, and asked if it was magic created by the guardian orc. Hansu questioned whether she had just noticed it now, since Kogmos had asked him the moment he saw it. Comparing someone like Kogmos made Dialoka feel offended, while Hansu thought it was unfair to the guy. As they watched people dig, the outsider god criticized Hansu, saying it's not what an outsider should do. Hansu explained that letting others work for him still qualified him as an outsider. The outsider god was amazed by his wisdom. He then asked Dialoka how the number of people had increased, and she replied that he had bought many slaves earlier who had moved to the orc sanctuary. Then a girl named Yao, who came with the workers from the portal, offers Hansu some food. While he's eating, she informs him that a hero has come to the orc sanctuary to train and become strong. Hansu thinks that going there himself might expose him to the goddess of heroes, so he decides to avoid going there for a while. As the sun rises, he decides to head back to the academy and leaves Dialoka in charge of the workers. She then looks menacingly at the workers, but a bald guy reassures everyone that she is under Hansu's control. In the morning, Hansu wonders why Celebliss keeps looking for him, and why he can't understand what goes on in her class, where they spend the entire lecture staring at each other. He speculates that it might be because of his fairy blessing. He then asks the outsider god's opinion, who is visibly angry and uncomfortable, stating that his credit is going down. As they were conversing, a teacher called out to him and informed him that regardless of his midterm exam results, he would remain in the higher class, as they would never send a student of Professor Celebliss into the lower class. However, he would have to attend supplementary classes to pass the midterm exam. This shocked Hansu, and he asked why she is telling him this so late. She then held his hand and explained that this is a matter of the Academy's and Celebliss's prestige, so he must pass the exam. Hansu moved his hand away and awkwardly agreed to try his best. The teacher then returned to her normal self and left, leaving Hansu shocked. While the outsider god saw it as a perfect opportunity to punish Celebliss, but Hansu tells her not to, as shaming her would also shame him and expose his lack of capability, meaning that the outsider god who gave him the blessing is also incapable. The outsider god calls it all nonsense, but now that he has to attend supplementary classes, he aims for the top result to easily pass the midterm exam, to which the outsider god agrees. Later, he arrives at the digging area where Dialoka smelled Hansu and asks why he reeked of a female fairy. He told her to quit talking nonsense and follow him, to which she happily complied. They later arrived at the forest, and Dialoka asked why they were here and why they were so high up. He explains that they're here to catch a powerful monster, and he's hiding to make capturing it easier with a surprise attack. Dialoka then asks why he is looking for something else when he is already raising a powerful demon like her, to which he replies that it's because of a test. Then the outsider god suggested a giant dragon, which annoyed him as it isn't something he could train yet. Dialoka suggests a dark dragon or a flying serpent, which might be perfect for him. He asked how he is supposed to find something like that in this place, to which Dialoka replied that there was another option that might be perfect, which is herself. Hearing this, Hansu became really angry and wondered if he should just eliminate her. On Earth, imaginary things that don't exist in reality are referred to as monsters, but in this world, monsters are differentiated by whether they eat slime or not. He then notices an elephant-type monster attacking slime. Dialoka informs him that it's a Lamborghini, named after the Lamborghini chivalry, known for breaking through enemy lines. Although it's a powerful monster, he decides not to take it as Celebliss will dislike it due to its tendency to attack slime. The outsider god is angry at him for letting go of such a good opportunity. Suddenly, the Lamborghini is attacked by a snake with a humanoid upper body. After easily eliminating the Lamborghini, the snake notices Hansu and decides to take him for herself. This angers Dialoka, who jumps down from the mountain to confront it. As the fight begins, Dialoka grabs the snake's tail and starts gathering mana into her hand. Then she uses it to continuously punch the snake. As she prepares to eliminate it, Hansu suggests that they can train the snake since it can speak. While Dialoka is distracted, the snake takes the opportunity to escape but is attacked by something else, which makes the outsider god happy and states that it's a cute dragon. Examining the dragon up close, Hansu notices it's different from the dragon he had seen earlier. Dialoka explains that it's a different breed from the Dragon King Alkaiser. Then his cursed dragon's wrath, which is now called Reverse, activates, causing the dragon to become hostile towards him, and as it rushes to attack, Hansu punches the dragon's chin and launches himself into the sky. He then takes out his holy sword and activates his blessing fairy and outsider, along with his curse holy sword, while also using the power of meat. He then combines all of it and launches a powerful attack beside the dragon to demonstrate his strength and intimidate the dragon, which worked as the dragon cowered in fear. As the dragon looks cute, and the outsider god wants it, Hansu wonders if he should take it with him. He then asks Dialoka what the dragon eats, to which she replies that it eats everything, even steel. Since it will be convenient to raise, Hansu decides to take the dragon with him and names it Kogmos II, which makes Dialoka pity the dragon. Now that his mission to capture a strong monster is complete, Hansu decides to return to the academy, riding Kogmos II. Meanwhile, Oh Hanwoo is on a mercenary quest. He wonders how long the mission will last, since he wants to attend Hogwarts Academy soon. Earlier, he had visited the Mercenary Guild and requested a quest involving escorting a noble or merchant to Hogwarts Academy. The receptionist then uses her blessing of observation, which allows her to look at a person's stats depending on their level compared to hers. After looking at his stats, she informs him that due to his low level and rank, he cannot take on such a quest, and the guild won't make an exception, even if he is a legendary hero. This information shocks him, and as he wonders what to do, his blessing special activates. Then a girl named Cassandra approaches him, introducing herself as the daughter of a dragon and the leader of a mercenary corps named after her. She invites him to join her corps, which is headed to Hogwarts Academy for a quest. He happily accepts, but is later disappointed, as he had thought that all the members of the party would be girls. However, there are also guys present. If he had known this earlier, he would have gone alone. Suddenly, one of the guys notices a monster, which he quickly identifies as a level 19 troll. The guy instructs Oh Hanwoo to use support magic while they deal with the monster. As the fight begins, one of them uses a sword to attack, but it has no effect on the troll, and the guy is sent flying. Then the others also engage in battle with the troll with the intention of stalling time until Oh Hanwoo activates his magic. However, Oh Hanwoo is overwhelmed by the troll's presence and wonders what he should do against such an opponent. As he's lost in thought, Cassandra becomes critically injured. He realizes that the only one capable of facing such an opponent is himself, a legendary hero. While a certain wind god believes it's worth a try, but the guys who are fighting the troll tell him that they don't need his magic anymore, so he just has to take care of Cassandra. As Oh Hanwoo is about to tell them not to give up, he is interrupted by Cassandra's blessing, Dragon's Wrath, which summons a bone dragon. She orders the bone dragon to attack the troll, and following her command, it rushes at the troll and easily eliminates all of them in the area. Later, as the guys praise Cassandra for her bravery, Oh Hanwoo, who hadn't done anything, wonders when he will go to the academy. Meanwhile, Hansu arrives at the academy riding Cogmos 2, which scares the students, so he punches it in the head to make it stay put. Hearing the commotion, the teachers arrive and question Hansu about the dragon. He replies that he found it somewhere and plans to raise it. He also uses his blessing of forgiveness to avoid getting into trouble. Later, he uses the outsider blessing to lift a heavy log and throws it far away for Cogmos 2 to fetch. Impressed, Celeblus praises Hansu for his control over Cogmos 2. While they are conversing, a student intervenes and asks for some of Celeblus's time. This annoys her, as she was spending time with Hansu. She then tells the student that an important supplementary class is ongoing, so if he wants to say something, he needs to come to the office later. The guy ignores her words and persists in showing his monster partner. The outsider god informs Hansu that the monster is a rare deity. However, Celeblus doesn't show any interest in the monster and tells the guy to leave. Despite her refusal, the guy insists on attending the supplementary classes, believing he's worthy, but Celeblus still declines. Witnessing this interaction, Hansu decides to come up with a plan to skip this bothersome class. However, all of his plans fail in the end. Later, as Hansu attends the dark magic classes, he wonders whether the reason Celeblus didn't show any interest in the baby deity is because she already possesses a phoenix deity. Then, the teacher of the dark magic class appears and uses dark magic to float a chalk. She then asks the students what they think about dark magic and explains that the theory that dark magic is evil, which most people have, is wrong. It's a misunderstanding caused by a devil that was born with a long lifespan and was able to use dark magic. Hearing this, Hansu remembers that the village chief also mentioned this, but he decides to stop thinking about it and falls asleep. Later at night, he goes to the digging area and tells Dialoka that he learned about the principle of dark magic in class, and wonders why fairies can't use dark magic, to which Dialoka informs him that in order to use dark magic, one needs to have a long lifespan. But the fairies don't have a long lifespan like angels or demons. They survive longer by stretching their lives. For example, a wound that would heal in a day for a human takes 2 weeks for fairies. This elongated healing process allowed them to compensate for their limited vitality by gaining additional time. On the other hand, demons have a long lifespan and quick healing rates, making fairies unable to compare. She then seductively says that the demons are also superior at nighttime activities. However, her seduction didn't work on Hansu at all, as all he understood is that the problem is the healing rate. Then, 2 guys shouted happily as they finally completed digging and found the ruins. Hansu then slides down the pit, and as he inspects the opening of the ruins, he realizes that it's much deeper than he had expected. Dialoka asks if he would enter immediately, to which he replies affirmatively and asks if she would like to join him. She happily accepts, and then the 2 of them jump into the ruin. Upon reaching the ground, Dialoka uses fire magic to illuminate the area. Then they hear a sound from behind and see a troll preparing to attack. Hansu inquires about the monster, and Dialoka informs him that it's a troll. He then draws his holy sword and easily defeats the troll. Then 2 more trolls appear, but Hansu defeats them effortlessly as well, though he's annoyed that his clothes are covered in their body fluid. Suddenly, his ring starts to glow, indicating that the mercenary guildmaster wasn't lying about the hidden treasure. Following the ring's direction, Hansu and Dialoka stumble upon a wall with a small crack from which wind is blowing. Dialoka speculates that there might be more space behind it, so Hansu uses his blessing outsider to break through the wall. As the dust clears out, they see a room with old-fashioned furniture, and the lights are also on. Hansu feels bad for destroying someone's room. He then loudly asks if anyone is alive there. Dialoka questions his stupidity for thinking that there might be someone alive. As he steps into the room, a hand rises from the rubble. Dialoka identifies the owner of the hand as the room's inhabitant. Hansu quickly backs away and apologizes for intruding, but Dialoka tells him not to apologize to a corpse. Suddenly, a human rises from the rubble and asks how they got here, as this hidden prison can only be opened by a witch. As the man appears healthy, Hansu tells Dialoka to apologize to him for calling him a corpse, but she refuses. Then the man starts going crazy while repeatedly saying the word witch. He suddenly rushes to attack Hansu, who easily dodges and counters using his blessing outsider and the holy sword, cutting the man in half. However, he quickly realizes that the man has a regenerating ability similar to the guardian orcs, which can only be used in a certain area. He speculates that this room might be the man's designated area for regeneration, so he kicks the man out of the room, ensuring that he doesn't regenerate. Dialoka asks if it was okay to eliminate the man, as he might have had some clues regarding the ruins. Hansu then instructs her to use her blessing to check the man's stats. She replies that it doesn't work on dead people, but she tries it anyway, and discovers that the man is alive. As he is rushing towards them, Hansu uses his authority as Dialoka's master and commands her to stop the man from entering the room. Although she isn't willing due to her curse, her body moves on its own and kicks the man, causing him to get stuck on the ceiling. This makes him angry, and he says that she should have sent him farther away, as he is still in the room, so he can regenerate at any time, and might even go berserk again. Dialoka ignores him as she is angry that he used her curse to command her. Meanwhile, Kogmos gains consciousness and finds himself imprisoned in an underground prison. Then, Yubora informs him that his slaves have left after regaining their freedom. Even after their curse was lifted, they initially tried to follow him. However, upon hearing that he could be executed if they remained stubborn, they left quietly. Hearing this, Kogmos feels relieved and regrets not being able to bid them farewell. Seeing this vulnerable side of Kogmos, Yubora mentions that he doesn't seem like a typical demon. Kogmos tells her not to insult him any further and to just end him. She then sincerely apologizes if her words came across as rude. Seeing her genuine apology, Kogmos is about to say something but decides not to. Instead, he asks why they spared his life. She explains that she had considered what he said in the cave, about them acting cowardly by bringing an entire unit of knights to slay goblins. Upon reflecting, she concluded that his actions were in self-defense, and that they were wrong to invade his territory. She then inquires about the person he mentioned back in the cave. Kogmos doesn't mention Hansu's name, but describes him as a human who knows no defeat or retreat, while levels are mere numbers to him. He explains that if it were Hansu who invaded the dungeon, all of his plans and traps would have been useless against him due to his immunity to poison and inexhaustible stamina. As Yubora presses for more information, Kogmos warns her not to pursue it, as it wouldn't lead to anything positive. She then decided to stop the interrogation and ask about his plans for the future. Kogmos replies that he doesn't know either. Relieved by his response, she opens his cell, removes his restraints, and offers him the chance to be her comrade. Kogmos questions if she's asking him to betray his own kind and join them. She confirms his assumption. Aware that rejecting the offer would likely lead to further troubles with the Saintess, and considering he can't return home in his current state, he agrees to her proposal, and she also accepts him as her new comrade. Later, she takes him to the temple, where Prince Alsus informs everyone about the subjugation of the Dragon King Alkaiser. They plan to locate and subjugate monsters that have been displaced due to the aftermath of the incident. Many students refuse to participate, using various excuses. Prince Alsis states that those below level 7 are mandatory participants. Cogmos is shocked to witness heroes struggling to reach even level 10 and whine about it. He then checks one of the heroes' stats and discovers the Blessing of the Noble, indicating that these heroes are sold to nobles. He acknowledges Saintus's cleverness in acquiring a real hero like Eubora. She asks if he wants to greet the other heroes, but he declines, stating that he's going to rest and to call him when he's needed. Meanwhile, Hansu is cleaning the room with the help of people from the Orc Sanctuary. As the cleaning finishes, he reopens the portal for them to return. He then questions Dialoka about how long she intends to hover over the man. She replies that she's done with preparations and is ready to wrap things up, but she wonders why the ancient female hero fought to take hold of a man like this. She had learned this information by interpreting it based on the morals of the ruins. Through this, she also learned that the owner of the ruin was a witch. Intrigued, Hansu asks if the witch is truly formidable. The man replies that the witch's power rivals that of gods, but the outsider god dismissed it, stating it's not even close to being possible. The man continues and explains that he was captured by the witch, who prevented him from reuniting with the female hero he loved and his child. Although Hansu understood his pain, he asked the man why he was speaking while lying in such a manner, making it less interesting. The man replied that he didn't know either, as he didn't know that the outsider god was sitting on top of him. Feeling bad for the man, Hansu decided to give him a gift as a token of encouragement. He then opened a portal above the guy, from which many gold pouches and dragon bones, which are really rare items, fell on him. The reason he's giving these gifts is so the man can live a good life. Later, Dialoka is impressed by how Hansu effortlessly raised a reliable security guard through simple conversation and gifts. And as the man was moved by Hansu's actions, he will surely protect this place and prevent further mercenary guild follow-ups until they obtain the ruins' treasure. Hearing this, the outsider god is shocked and admires his wisdom, while in truth, Hansu had just done it out of kindness. Suddenly, many trolls appear out of nowhere and rush to attack Hansu, who easily dodges their every attack. Then, Dialoka informs him that there are too many trolls, so it'll be difficult to deal with all of them. Agreeing with her, he picks her up, and as she blushingly asks what he is doing, he replies that he doesn't want to lose another translator. He then comes up with an idea, and although it's bothersome, he decides to do it anyway. He activates his blessings of Outsider and Fairy, along with his Curse Reverse, to simultaneously summon bone dragons. These dragons are initially hostile toward him, but upon seeing the trolls, they become confused. The trolls then started to attack the bone dragons, while Hansu took advantage of the chaos to eliminate all of them at once. Later, when all the chaos has settled, Hansu asks Dialoka if she is alive, to which she blushingly replies that she is indeed alive, but her ability for self-restraint is dead. She then grabs Hansu's collar, pulls him towards her, and kisses him. Witnessing this, the outsider god is astonished, but quickly snaps out of it and becomes angry, condemning Hansu. Then the ground starts to break beneath them, and they fall through to a floor below. Dialoka asks if he knew that there was a floor beneath them, to which he ignores her and wonders why everyone is after his lips. He is happy that everything settled down so easily, and thinks that his curse of annihilation and massacre was activated for no reason. Dialoka mentions that she is slowly getting an outline of when the runes were made as the roof they broke through is restoring itself. Such phenomena are commonly seen in ruins from the mythological age. Hansu asks if it's similar to the guardian orc and the man they had met earlier, to which she replies affirmatively, informing him that even the Saintess can resurrect people. However, she cannot bring things back to life, like bringing a sculpture back to life, and when the flesh dies, it wounds the soul. However, if the soul remains unharmed, he will be able to resurrect himself, like the guardian orc, and he can also see it with his unique blessing. Hearing this, he remembers that from the very beginning, he had questions about the outsider blessing's description, and although it could be due to the inclusion of the curse massacre, he can still see the souls that have always hung around him. He then asks Dialoka if having the blessing of outsider means that if his soul is not wounded, and even if he were to die, would he be able to resurrect himself? She replies that it's theoretically possible, but she has never heard of a blessing that can directly control the soul. The outsider god doesn't like their conversation and feels uncomfortable. Suddenly, Dialoka hears the troll's sound coming from afar, and Hansu's ring starts to glow again, indicating that treasure is nearby. Since they can't keep dealing with trolls, Hansu decides to enter further into the ruins before the trolls appear. Following the ring's indication, they arrive in front of a golden door that looks like a boss's room. Dialoka informs him that her level has increased. He then asks how much her level has risen, since all she did was finish up what he had beaten. Instead of answering, she shows him her stats, which state that she is level 35. Shocked, Hansu questions how it went up so much. She explains that although she had eliminated many trolls, but her main level increase came from eliminating the room owner, who was level 38. Suddenly, the door reacts to the ring and opens. Dialoka tells him not to be surprised, as it's very basic magic. They enter the room, and although Hansu can't see anything due to the thick fog, Dialoka can see a little and is shocked by the sight of a huge waterfall. Someone inside the waterfall, who appears to be a mermaid, welcomes Hansu and calls him her dear husband. This angers Dialoka, who says that the mermaid is experience points for her to level up more, while the outsider god agrees with her. Hansu then tells the both of them to calm down and asks the mermaid why she's calling him her husband, to which she replies that he's being rude, as he had accepted the ring and the blessing she had sent as an invitation. Dialoka is shocked, as she recognizes her as Archwitch Angvrora, the only one in the history of Fantasia to have slain a demon king on her own without being a hero. Angvrora confirms Dialoka's assumption and explains that in the past, she had put everything into her past love, for which she even betrayed her hero friend and trapped her loved one in the dungeon. With the hero no longer alive, her only way to seek forgiveness is death. She then uses water magic to create dragons and asks Hansu if he can grant her end. Hansu finds her request to be amusing. Then suddenly, the water dragons attack him and Dialoka. He swiftly dodges the attacks while carrying Dialoka. Angvrora is confident that Hansu won't be able to dodge her next attack since he's in the air without wings. However, Dialoka takes out her wing and carries Hansu, who tells her to throw him at the mermaid. As she did, he activates his blessings Outsider and Fairy, along with his curse, Holy Sword, and launches a powerful attack. However, despite the attack being very strong, Angvrora begins to regenerate. She then uses her water magic to restrain him. Hansu then jokingly asks why she did that since he couldn't move. He tells her to let him go, but she refuses, explaining that she had tied him up to take away his freedom, adding that heroes are too simple-minded. Hansu replies that he doesn't have a blessing like that. He then uses his meat power along with dark magic to attack her, which blows off her entire body, leaving only the tail. However, she instantly regenerates her entire body and praises Hansu for his powerful dark magic, while expressing her wish for every part of him to fall for her. Hansu realizes that he can't defeat her inside the dungeon, as her regeneration ability is similar to the Guardian Orc whose ability only works in a designated area. So he comes up with a plan. He uses his blessings of the Outsider and the Fairy, along with his curse Holy Sword, while also gathering mana and launches a similar attack as before. But this time his intention isn't to eliminate her. Instead, he wants to send her out of her designated area so that she can't regenerate anymore. He then opens a portal and throws her remains inside, teleporting her far away from the ruins. Although Hansu is happy that he was finally able to defeat her, he quickly realizes that he had sent her to the Orc Sanctuary, which is also a ruin. Dialoka assures him that it won't be a problem, as the Guardian Orc hadn't reported any issues. In fact, they have another problem. Hansu inquires if it's about the treasure, to which Dialoka informs him that if what Angvrora had sent as a gift was a blessing, it means that these ruins don't have any treasure, and since the Ruin Master isn't present at the ruins, it won't be able to maintain its function anymore. This means the ruin could fall apart at any time. Then suddenly, the ground starts shaking, and both of them quickly start running away, as the ruin is really collapsing. This makes Hansu angry, saying that Dialoka should have informed him earlier,